In the vast, silent expanse of a lavish mansion, Jason Harlow's voice echoes coldly, "Play something if you dare." Emma the maid hesitates as her trembling fingers touch the piano keys. The first note shatters the silence, and Jason freezes, his eyes wide with disbelief. What is it about her music that he never expected? Jason Harlow, a man of vast wealth, commands respect in every room he enters. His sprawling estate, adorned with priceless art and immaculate gardens, reflects his success. Yet, within its towering walls lies a vacuum of warmth. Jason's life is meticulously ordered but devoid of joy. Few know the depths of his isolation, born from a loss that still lingers like an unspoken secret. Despite his financial empire, Jason's most treasured possession remains untouched: a grand piano in the center of his music room. It sits pristine, yet eerily silent, a reminder of a life he once shared with someone who could bring its keys to life. That someone is gone, and Jason refuses to speak of it. The piano has become a relic, a symbol of pain he keeps hidden even from himself. Across town, Emma Scott struggles to keep her head above water. As the sole guardian of her 10-year-old brother Liam, Emma juggles multiple jobs to ensure he has food on the table and a chance at a better future. Life has dealt Emma harsh blows, but her indomitable spirit drives her forward. She hides her exhaustion behind a warm smile, knowing that Liam draws strength from her resilience. Emma's only solace is her secret passion for music. Late at night, after Liam has gone to bed, she plays an old keyboard her mother left behind. Music is her sanctuary, a fleeting escape from the endless grind of survival. But Emma keeps her talent hidden, unsure if her abilities would ever matter in a world that often overlooks people like her. When Emma lands a job as a live-in maid at Jason's estate, it feels like a lifeline. The salary is more than she could ever dream of, and it offers stability for Liam. But stepping into Jason's mansion feels overwhelming. The polished floors, the grandeur, and the coldness of the staff, particularly the head butler, Mr. Thomas, make her feel out of place. Her first meeting with Jason is even more unsettling. He is every bit as intimidating as his reputation suggests: tall, imposing, and curt. Jason barely acknowledges her presence, treating her as just another cog in the machine that keeps his life running smoothly. Days into her new role, Emma's routine becomes monotonous: cleaning, organizing, and keeping to herself. But one evening, as she dusts the music room, she can't resist humming a melody from her childhood. The room's acoustics amplify her voice, filling the space with an unexpected warmth. Unbeknownst to Emma, Jason is nearby, drawn by the sound. His footsteps are silent as he listens from the doorway. For a moment, his cold facade cracks, and a flicker of something, recognition, perhaps, crosses his face. The next evening, Jason surprises Emma during dinner service with an unexpected comment. His voice is calm, but there's a hint of challenge in his tone. "Do you play?" That tune earlier, it wasn't just humming. "Play something. Let's see what you've got." Emma freezes, her heart pounding. She stammers an excuse, but Jason's piercing gaze doesn't waver. His demand isn't a simple whim. There's something behind it, a need he won't admit. As the days progress, Jason's behavior becomes more puzzling. He oscillates between aloofness and moments of inexplicable curiosity, leaving Emma on edge. Meanwhile, she begins to notice peculiar details around the mansion. A locked door Jason avoids, faded family portraits with a boy who looks eerily like him, and the grand piano that no one touches. Despite Jason's stern exterior, Emma senses a deep sadness in him, one that mirrors her own in ways she can't yet understand. And though she tries to avoid the piano, it seems to call to her. Little does she know, playing it could unravel not just Jason's guarded past, but also her own. Emma arrives at the mansion, carrying a tray of refreshments. Jason, distracted by an old photograph on the piano, suddenly turns to her. "Do you play?" he asks. Emma hesitates, sensing an unusual tension in his voice. She nods, cautiously admitting she learned as a child, but hasn't played in years. Jason demands she sit at the piano. Unwilling to anger her employer, Emma complies. As her fingers touch the keys, Jason's sharp eyes bore into her. She plays a simple melody, hesitant and uneven at first, but as the notes echo, a surprising fluency emerges. Jason freezes, his glass slipping from his hand and shattering on the floor. "Where did you learn that song?" he demands, his voice breaking. Emma, startled, stammers that it was her late mother's favorite piece. Jason storms out without another word, leaving Emma shaken and confused. The butler, Mr. Thomas, later approaches Emma, whispering, "You've stirred something best left alone." His words, cryptic and laced with warning, leave Emma even more unsettled. Emma can't shake the eerie events surrounding the piano. Late one night, she hears Jason's piano playing through the halls, a haunting, melancholic tune that seems to cry out in anguish. She cautiously approaches the music room, peeking through a crack in the door. Jason is lost in the music, his face contorted with emotion. On the piano, an old photo of a young woman catches Emma's attention. The next day, while cleaning, Emma discovers the same photograph tucked inside Jason's desk. The woman in the photo resembles her mother eerily. Emma is frozen in shock as the pieces of the melody play over in her head. Jason catches her looking. "Stay out of my affairs," he growls, snatching the photograph. His anger is cold and sharp, but there's a glimmer of vulnerability in his eyes. Later, Mr. Thomas reveals a fragment of truth. That song belonged to someone Jason loved deeply, a woman who disappeared long ago. But you, Miss Scott, playing it, that's no coincidence. Ethan's curiosity leads him to explore the mansion's grand attic, where he finds a dusty piano sheet with the same song Emma played. Excited, he runs to show his mother. Emma's heart races as she examines the sheet music, its corners frayed. "How did this get here?" she whispers, the connection deepening. Ethan insists they play it together, but Emma resists, afraid of the implications. Jason overhears their conversation and orders them both to the music room. "Play it," he commands, his voice trembling. Emma plays reluctantly, her hands guided by an inexplicable familiarity. As the last notes ring out, Jason collapses into a chair, burying his face in his hands. He recounts, in fragments, how the melody was written for him by someone he once loved, a talented pianist who vanished without a trace. Jason's vulnerability opens a door Emma never expected, but his torment leaves her with more questions than answers. Determined to uncover the truth, Emma delves deeper into her late mother's belongings. She finds a letter describing a mysterious man her mother once worked for, a rich patron obsessed with music. The details eerily match Jason's story. Emma confronts Jason, clutching the letter. "Did you know my mother?" she asks, her voice steady but accusing. Jason turns pale, taking the letter with trembling hands. Reading the letter, Jason becomes visibly shaken. He admits he knew a woman who played the same melody, Emma's mother, but claims she left abruptly, breaking his heart. Emma feels the ground shift beneath her. Could her mother have lived a double life? Jason's raw emotions leave her torn between anger and pity. Ethan, sensing the tension, innocently asks, "Did you love Grandma, Mr. Jason?" His words silence the room. Jason's gaze softens, but he offers no answer, retreating into himself once again. Emma, with Ethan's help, uncovers a hidden journal in the attic, written by her mother. The entries paint a picture of a young pianist who worked for Jason, struggling to reconcile her love for music with the secrets of Jason's tormented past. The journal reveals Jason's dark history, a betrayal by his closest confidant, and a tragic accident that left him emotionally scarred. The melody Emma played was the last piece her mother composed for him, a farewell shrouded in guilt and sorrow. Emma confronts Jason again, armed with the journal. She demands answers, but Jason shuts down, overwhelmed by the memories. "You don't understand what she meant to me," he mutters, his voice breaking. Ethan steps forward, handing Jason a drawing he made of the piano. Maybe we can make it happy again, he says innocently. His words strike a chord, igniting a flicker of hope in Jason. The tension reaches a boiling point when Emma decides to leave the mansion, unable to bear the emotional weight of the revelations. Jason begs her to stay, admitting his loneliness and regret. He confesses the truth about her mother's departure. It wasn't her choice. Jason's controlling father forced her to leave, fearing she would tarnish their reputation. The revelation breaks Emma's heart, but it also opens her eyes to Jason's pain. Emma plays the melody one last time, inviting Jason to join her. Together, they create a duet, blending sorrow and hope into the music. The act becomes a turning point, breaking through Jason's emotional walls. Ethan watches with wide eyes, clapping enthusiastically when the music ends. "It's beautiful," he exclaims, unknowingly solidifying the bond forming between them all. Jason promises to honor Emma's mother by restoring the piano and dedicating a music scholarship in her name. For the first time, the mansion feels alive, filled with echoes of healing and connection. Jason discovers Ethan playing the haunting melody alone in the music room. Overwhelmed, Jason lashes out, yelling for Ethan to stop. The boy, startled, accidentally knocks over a vase, shattering it. Emma rushes in, finding Ethan in tears and Jason visibly shaken. "Why can't you just let the past go?" Emma confronts Jason. Jason storms out, retreating to his study. There, he pulls out a locked drawer containing old letters and photographs. One image stands out, a picture of Emma's mother smiling beside the piano, with Jason seated next to her. The emotions he's kept buried for decades erupt, and he finally breaks down. That night, Jason shares fragments of his story with Emma. He reveals how her mother, a prodigious pianist, was his muse, and how his family's interference tore them apart. "She left without a word," Jason mutters, his voice thick with pain. "But she left the melody behind, and it's haunted me ever since." Emma begins to see the depth of Jason's suffering, but the cracks in his story leave her suspicious. Why didn't her mother ever speak of Jason? Ethan, undeterred by Jason's outburst, explores the estate again. This time, he stumbles upon a hidden basement, where he finds an old gramophone and a dusty record labeled, "For Jason." When Emma and Jason hear the record, it begins with a heart-wrenching piano performance of the melody. As the music fades, a voice speaks. It's Emma's mother. "Jason, I hope one day you forgive me. This melody is my apology and my farewell. I loved you, but I had to leave." Jason is stunned. The voice from the past rips open old wounds, but Emma hears something else. A quiver in her mother's voice, a hint of fear. Jason insists her departure was due to his family's intervention, but Emma grows skeptical. She recalls a letter from her mother's journal that hinted at betrayal. "There's more to this, Jason," Emma says, her voice firm. Determined to uncover the full story, Emma confronts Mr. Thomas, the butler. Initially hesitant, he finally admits his complicity. "Your mother didn't leave willingly," he confesses. Thomas reveals that Jason's father orchestrated her departure, threatening to ruin her career and her family if she didn't comply. The realization shatters Jason. His father, the man he idolized, had destroyed the one person he truly loved. Jason spirals into guilt and self-loathing. "I should have fought for her," he whispers. Emma, though angry at the pain caused to her mother, sees Jason's torment. Ethan, sensing the tension, urges Jason to find peace. "Grandpa says people deserve second chances," he says innocently, leaving Jason speechless. Jason decides to make amends, but his guilt clouds his judgment. He proposes holding a gala in Emma's mother's honor, showcasing the melody as its centerpiece. Emma hesitates, feeling it's an exploitative gesture rather than a heartfelt tribute. Tensions rise as Jason becomes obsessed with the event, using it as a way to escape his guilt. Emma warns him, "You can't fix the past with grand gestures." Meanwhile, Ethan tries to lighten the mood, encouraging Jason to play chess with him. During their game, Ethan innocently asks about Jason's father, triggering a flash of anger in Jason. He reveals the oppressive nature of his upbringing and how his father's control defined his life. Emma begins to see the deep scars Jason carries, but she refuses to let him spiral further. "You have to face the truth, not hide behind it," she says firmly. Jason, for the first time, truly listens. The night of the gala arrives. The mansion is transformed, filled with guests eager to hear the story behind the melody. Jason, dressed impeccably, feels the weight of the evening crushing him. Emma and Ethan stay by his side, offering quiet support. As the music begins, Jason takes the stage to speak. "This melody," he starts, his voice trembling, "is more than a piece of music. It's a story of love, loss, and regret." Midway through his speech, an elderly guest interrupts. "That melody," she says, stepping forward, "wasn't just hers. It was her way of speaking the truth." The woman reveals herself as a former confidant of Emma's mother. She discloses a chilling detail. Jason's father didn't just force her to leave. He also sabotaged her career and ensured she could never return to music. Jason is devastated. The betrayal runs deeper than he imagined, and the guests murmur in shock. Emma's fury ignites, but her son's presence tempers her reaction. Jason, unable to finish his speech, sits at the piano and begins to play the melody. This time it's different. There's a rawness, a vulnerability that silences the room. Emma, moved by his effort, joins him at the piano, playing a harmonizing counter-melody. Together they weave a story of pain and healing through the music. The performance ends in a standing ovation, but for Jason and Emma, it's more than applause. It's catharsis. After the gala, Jason apologizes to Emma. "I can't change the past, but I want to honor your mother in the way she deserved." He offers to fund a music scholarship in her mother's name and commits to using his resources to support aspiring musicians. Ethan, clutching Jason's hand, says, "You're not alone anymore." The boy's words, simple and pure, resonate deeply. Jason finally feels the weight of his guilt lift, replaced by hope. The days following the gala mark a new beginning for Jason, Emma, and Ethan. Jason begins dismantling the barriers he had built, starting with small gestures of trust. He asks Ethan to teach him chess, their dynamic shifting from distant acquaintances to an unlikely pair of friends. Emma watches the growing bond with cautious optimism. One evening, she finds Jason teaching Ethan a simplified version of her mother's melody on the piano. Jason's patient encouragement brings a smile to her face, and for the first time, she feels a glimmer of hope that healing is truly possible. Meanwhile, Jason enlists the help of Ms. Grace, his former mentor, to draft plans for a foundation in honor of Emma's mother. The foundation aims to nurture young talent, ensuring they never face the obstacles Emma's mother did. Emma, initially hesitant, agrees to help, adding her personal touch to the project. This collaborative effort draws Jason and Emma closer, revealing their shared values and mutual respect. Through these small victories, Jason begins to view his once empty mansion as a place of purpose, rather than a hollow monument to his guilt. Mr. Thomas, the butler who once upheld Jason's father's oppressive legacy, begins to confront his own guilt. He approaches Emma with an old journal belonging to her mother, filled with handwritten compositions and deeply personal reflections. "Your mother didn't deserve what happened to her," he admits, his voice tinged with remorse. "I was complicit in her pain, and I'll never forgive myself for that." Emma, though hurt, extends a measure of forgiveness. "What matters now is how we honor her memory," she says, her tone resolute. She and Jason decide to include her mother's compositions in the foundation's initiatives, ensuring they reach aspiring musicians. This act of reconciliation inspires Mr. Thomas to make amends in other ways. He opens up about his past, revealing that Jason's father had once threatened his family, forcing him to comply. His revelations paint a fuller picture of the toxic legacy Jason has vowed to dismantle. As weeks pass, the mansion begins to buzz with life. The once silent halls now echo with laughter and music, as Jason hosts informal gatherings for local children interested in music. Ethan becomes an ambassador of joy, introducing his friends to Jason's world and bridging the gap between wealth and humility. Emma, too, finds herself settling into a new rhythm. She feels less like an employee and more like a partner in Jason's mission. Their shared purpose begins to transcend professional boundaries, hinting at the possibility of something deeper. Jason's transformation is evident to everyone around him. He no longer isolates himself, instead, embracing the connections that have been built. For the first time in years, he feels a sense of belonging, not to his wealth or status, but to the people who now fill his life with meaning. Months have passed since the gala, and life has changed profoundly for everyone. Emma and Ethan have moved into a modest but charming home, gifted to them by Jason. The house, though smaller than Jason's mansion, is filled with warmth, music, and memories of their journey. Emma decorates it with photographs of her mother, alongside Jason's contributions to the foundation, a testament to the new family they've built. Ethan thrives in his new environment. Jason has sponsored his education, enrolling him in a music academy where he learns to play the piano with professional guidance. Ethan often invites Jason to his recitals, their bond deepening with each shared experience. Jason, too, finds himself transformed. His once lifeless mansion is now a hub of activity, hosting community events, music workshops, and charity galas. The foundation established in Emma's mother's memory has garnered widespread acclaim, attracting donors and volunteers eager to support its cause. Despite his success, Jason's greatest reward lies in the connections he's nurtured. Emma and Ethan have become his surrogate family, filling the void that had long haunted him. For the first time, Jason feels at peace, no longer defined by his past mistakes, but by the positive impact he's made. On a sunny afternoon, Jason hosts a garden party to celebrate the foundation's success. The event brings together people from all walks of life: children, parents, musicians, and philanthropists, united by a shared vision of hope and opportunity. Emma takes the stage to deliver a heartfelt speech. "This foundation is more than a tribute to my mother. It's a beacon of what we can achieve when we choose compassion over division," she says, her voice steady with emotion. As the guests applaud, Jason steps forward, his usual stoic demeanor softened. He looks at Emma with a mixture of pride and gratitude. "Emma and Ethan taught me something invaluable, that wealth means nothing without purpose. They reminded me that the greatest riches lie in the people we cherish." Ethan surprises everyone by playing a medley of his grandmother's compositions on the piano. His performance brings tears to many eyes, a poignant reminder of how far they've all come. The story concludes with a quiet, intimate dinner at Jason's mansion. Jason, Emma, Ethan, and Ms. Grace sit around the dining table, sharing stories and laughter. The atmosphere is light, yet deeply meaningful, a reflection of the journey that brought them together. Jason raises a glass, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "To second chances," he says, "and to the people who remind us of what truly matters." Emma smiles, her heart full of gratitude. "To new beginnings," she replies, clinking her glass with his. Ethan chimes in, his youthful enthusiasm breaking the solemnity. "And to the best piano teacher ever," he exclaims, grinning at Jason. The camera pans out, capturing the warmth of their shared moment. Jason's mansion, once a symbol of isolation, now radiates with light and life, a fitting metaphor for the transformation he's undergone.